This vignette depicts an oral examination on cognitive psychology, but you don't need to know the subject to follow what is happening. Throughout, the student's answers are very good, but she is difficult to hear, and some of the questions the examiner asks indicate that he has not really heard her answer. What effect might this have on his memory of her performance?
Okay, so now we come to the last part of the examination. Can you explain me how cognitive load theory sits with script theory and how that relates to the development of professional behavior?
Well, the short-term memory is limited, so it has to rely on scripts to make good decisions, and professional behaviour is all about making decisions about your own behaviour. Professional behaviour is a complex decision process and cannot be done consciously, and certainly not for a prolonged period of time, and so scripts serve to reduce cognitive load.
But how does that relate to professional behavior?
Well, if behaviour decisions are intrinsic load, then having to search for strategies in the long-term memory could be seen as extraneous load, which is of course a bit strange, as the possession of a strategy repertoire in the long-term memory is an automatic reduction of intrinsic load and you don't actually have to think about it.
But isn't that paradoxical? Having more strategies means more time spending looking for one?
Well, that does not align with connectionist theories because they do not start from a linear sequential view of decision making, but more from a network of connections which can each fire when activated. This is why experiences not only increase strategies but also the probability of the right sequence to be triggered.
But it still doesn't explain the relation between scripts, cognitive load, and professional behavior.
Like I said, scripts serve to reduce cognitive load because automations allow for more information-rich chunks to be stored in the short-term memory, which is mainly a decrease of intrinsic load and therefore allows more tolerance for extraneous load and the same resulting germane load.
But how would scripts then enable you to behave more professionally?
Well, like I said before, the higher information content of the chunks means you don't actually have to think about it, and thus avoids a combinatorial explosion and an over-reliance on System 1 processing.
So what you're saying is that scripts enable chunking, therefore reduction of the cognitive load, and therefore a better professional performance?
Well, yes, but
It's not wrong, but it's very incomplete.
But I answered everything.
Well, I certainly didn't hear it, and I've been listening very carefully.
Well, that's unfair. What didn't I cover?
Well, I wanted to hear about the types of cognitive load and how scripts can influence them. And you missed the complexity of the task and how therefore we cannot rely on conscious processing. And furthermore, you didn't mention that these processes can't be modeled sufficiently in a linear dynamic way.
But I answered all that.
Well, I can only judge on what I'm hearing. But if you think it's unfair, you always have the chance of appealing.